Good morning. Welcome to a whole new week of Curt and Jen in the Morning podcast.
A whole new week. I love it. Yes, because it's Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. Just a reminder that if you like what you hear on these daily podcasts that we do while we are between gigs, let us know. That'd be great. You can like, you can follow, you can subscribe, all those things. And if you want to contact us, there are many ways to do so, but we should also give our extremely long email address, which is curtandjen@gmail.com.
That's
We need
C,
to shorten that.
yeah, CURT, the
And
word
Jen with one
N.
N.
Yeah, Jen with one N in the morning at gmail.com.
This is
Uh,
where I say, you're not supposed to say to people, you look a little tired, but was it a late night last night, Jen?
well, not last night. Last night wasn't, well, it was a little late. And I should say why I'm in, not with you. I'm in
Right.
Sedro
You are
right now.
on
Um,
remote.
I am on remote and Pat woke up to a phone call yesterday morning from his oldest son crying. So that's never a good sign.
No, no.
Saying that his wife, who is pregnant, got in an accident in that morning, yesterday morning. So Pat went to help with towing the vehicle, and then we ended up coming back here just to check on them. He had to get a few things done as well. So I'm in Cedar Woolley,
How
Washington.
is everyone? Thank you.
Oh, sorry, everybody's fine. The baby's fine. Sorry, the baby's fine. Uh, yeah,
Mom's
mom's
fine.
fine.
Okay,
We're
good.
all, there's definitely some bumps and bruises and sore muscles and all that, but ultimately she will be just fine. So,
Thankfully, yes. Okay.
yeah. What'd you do this
Um,
weekend?
uh, I believe it was determined that I was the greatest pickleball player ever.
Self-designated title. Great.
Yeah, okay. It was a little self-designated. Yeah, no, it was, but we've been having fun pretty much every day, getting
Yeah.
out and playing pickleball with our friends. So that's been good. We broke in that new grill. We got that Weber grill and broke it in on Friday. It grills.
Okay.
We'll
And,
find out if it grills $400 better than the other grill that we had.
ooh,
Uh, yeah.
okay.
And remember a little while back, um, people were coming out against Five Guys for being so expensive. Do you recall that? We talked about it a little bit on the air.
Yeah,
The
okay.
complaint was, why is Five Guys so expensive? And my point was, hey, it's all expensive these days. Like, how could you go out to a Five Guys and just for two burgers and two fries and it'd be, $30? Well, I went to Five Guys yesterday with my wife Dana, and it was $38. So then my tune might have changed a little bit of like, wow, this is a lot.
You know,
This is
I took my Pat and I took our kids who have been in school. So his middle son Michael and then Riley,
Mhm.
my oldest, and Macy, who actually still has a day and a half left of school this week. Goes to school today and then for like
Summer.
3 hours tomorrow. Anyway, we took them out to dinner, or I mean to lunch. Lunch. I don't even want to tell you how much it ended up being. We went to Blue Water at the Everett Marina.
Yes. Well, that's
We just made it rain. And here's the thing, we were even being budget conscious as
right.
far as we want to go to a decently nice restaurant, not
Mm.
over the top, but a sit down, not fast food. And I'll tell you what, everything just added up quickly and
It was four people.
five,
All right.
five
Was it
people.
over $200?
Yes.
Whoa. All right. Well, I'm not knocking Five Guys. I'm just saying things are
Way
expensive these
over.
days.
Way over.
Things are expensive these days. Now, we as often happens with Jen and myself, we will go somewhere without fully having researched what we want to talk about. Not go somewhere physically, like with the show. It's like, hey, here's a thing, and we're like, we don't really know anything about that, which is what led us to saying, what's the difference between beer and ale? And we're like, I don't know. What's the difference between beer and ale? So Steve, who is a longtime listener to the radio show, and of course he watches and listens to the podcast, he had the answer for the difference between beer and ale. You want to go
No,
with it there?
no, tell me what it is, because I don't even understand half this stuff.
Steve said ales, typically called bitter, are differentiated. This is lots of big words from Steve. Ales, typically called bitter, are differentiated from beers by possessing a hop flavor that is more intense than that of beers due to the increased amount of hops used in the brewing process of ales. This is because the amount of hops used in the brewing process of ales is greater than that of beers.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, but
Basically, I think what we found out was that ale is a type of beer underneath the beer umbrella.
That's what I was gonna say. That's yeah.
Yes.
That
It's
Glenn
a
had schooled
so
us a little bit as well on the pickleball court, saying
you've
beer
got
is
the
a
beer
category
umbrella, and underneath that you've got ales and I guess like ciders and stuff like that. I don't know if ciders
and
is one or not.
IPAs and
IPA,
Hefeweizens and
right.
all that.
Right. I
Okay.
believe so. So again, you know, Jen loves wine. I'm a bourbon guy, so we
I
don't know much
love
about beer.
cocktails more than I love wine, but I do
Okay,
like a good glass
now,
of
now you're
wine.
sounding like, Jen loves it all, but beers are her least favorite of all of it. How's
That's,
that?
yeah, there you go. That's fair.
What
Um,
did Sonia have to say?
Sonia's ticked off right now about the whole we reported, I think it was on Friday, that we were the
Hmm.
#1 country who doesn't take their vacation time.
The United States. Yeah, we are
In
the
the
we're really bad about using our vacation time.
so she says I'm gonna vent about the peeps that don't take vacation. We are adults. We know how much we get. Plan it out and take it. I have my weeks planned out way in advance. I work the holiday season because things slow down at work. But then peeps that haven't taken their time and they have to take most of December off, that basically leaves all the work for me.
Mm,
I'm the one that has
mm.
to fill in for everybody. And she says, enough is enough. I am stuck saying, no, I don't have their backs. No, I cannot help you. Call them. And if they're not answering, call their boss. I don't know what Sonia does.
But well, you can relate. I mean, it's a well, there was a, a long, long time ago when I was the only single dude at the radio station. A lot of times, I think these things would come up in the weekends and be like, "Oh, we got to go to this thing over the weekend, Curt. So and so can't go because their kids got soccer practice, and such can't do it because their kids doing this, and so's got a play to go to with their kids. So you're the only one available." And I was like, "Well, I don't have a kid, but I had something really important planned for the weekend. I was going to sit around and watch TV." That didn't. But my argument was that's just as important to me, perhaps, it is to go see your kid's soccer game.
I mean, you need your time. That's true. Um,
Yeah.
I was at we had my roommate Jackie had we had a birthday party for her this past weekend. Side note, I stayed out way too late. Drink and I didn't drink a ton, but I
Hmm.
drank more than I usually do. And man, we just don't bounce back the way that we used to. Yesterday was raw.
That's true. I didn't hear from you all day. Usually I'll get a text or a call or something just to talk about what's going on. No,
I
you
just
were
Yeah, I felt off all day long. Like it was brutal. I'm like, I cannot do this anymore. I can't do that. Now I
well,
get it.
you
Now I get it when people say I gotta go. I gotta go to bed.
right.
Anyway, when I was at the party, one of the gals came up who listens to the podcast. She came up to me. She says, Jen, I listened to your podcast from Friday. Um, and I was very surprised about what you said about being at a party and not feeling confident because I had
Oh
talked
yeah.
about,
Yeah.
just being in this group of women that I just lost all my confidence. And I had this struggle of emotions, like, Jen, pull yourself together. You're a decent human.
Right.
And but what won over is you suck, like you don't have your nails done, you don't have a job, like all the bad things. And she said, I just thought that you just always had it all together and were this very confident person. And I said, this is why we talk about this kind of stuff on the Curt and Jen in the Morning Show podcast, because we are human. I mean, like all of us are human. We all have those moments where we're not feeling confident, not feeling our best. And
Hmm.
so we like to share those moments and be vulnerable with you to let you know that, you know what, it's okay. We're all
Yeah.
here on the earth doing just on the same basic journey, trying to get to the end at some point, but be good humans. And
Well,
sometimes
that's what I'm saying to you right now, and so is everybody else. It's like you were beating yourself up for being at this party because you weren't dressed right, or like you said, you hadn't had
all the
time to do this or
things.
whatever. And it was, nobody at that party saw any of that stuff. They didn't, they were like, it's Jen, she's here, it's great, so don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Just by being there, you brought the sunshine, I'm sure.
Well, just, here's the message, Curt, I think to everybody is I think we all go through it. And so people can relate to it. And I don't think there is one person that is exempt from feeling any of those types of things. I think at some
Hmm.
point we feel them and we're just here for it. We're here, we're showing up for you and just we'll try to lift you up the best we can.
Yeah, yeah. And on a completely different note,
Yes. Well, but not really, but birthdays, we're talking about birthdays.
We're talking about birthdays and parties. Yes, this is Curt Smith, who is one half. There's probably more that we know. Tears for Fears, the band, is being Curt Smith and Roland Orzabal, right? That's the two. Well, Curt Smith turned 63 today, so happy birthday about that. The reason I'm bringing this up is not just to say happy birthday, but we had. Do you remember when we had Tears for Fears come by the radio station?
Oh, that was really long time
Yeah.
ago.
And I'm not bringing this up as a name dropping opportunity. This was just one of the more bizarre things that's ever happened. So we're there at the station. This is 2003 or 4, I think. Yeah, 2003, because Tears for Fears had a big comeback album that they were getting ready to release, right? And they were going out to the radio stations to, talk about it and do all the pre-promotion and stuff like that. And they came to the station, and they just seemed kind of down and, not really into it. And of course, I'm like, oh, big egos, and stuff like that. It turns out that on the way to the radio station, they had gotten a call from their record label saying that the label had just dropped them after this big, they had written a bunch of new songs, is all ready to go. They put the album together, and there was a merger between Arista Records and another, I guess, their label. And in the process of that happening, Tears for Fears as an act was dropped. And so here I am thinking, oh, these guys are all, into themselves and full of themselves. And it turns out they were just kind of bummed out because, and I can understand
The
why.
whole
Here we
reason
are at
they're
the
on the tour is
station.
to promote this record and
Yeah.
it was dropped. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
anyway, that was
That's crazy.
one of those things you don't expect. And after the fact, I was like, man, I'm a dork. What a jerk. Poor
Gee.
guy just lost his record label.
All right. Wedding etiquette. The worst things guests and couples can do. I love
We talked
wedding.
about this on Friday. We threw this out there to see what people thought. It was a good suggestion. I can't remember how it was a good suggestion. What are the worst things guests and couples can do at a wedding? And there were a lot of good answers, if you call them good, I suppose. I guess one of the big ones was wearing something fancier or more extravagant than the couple, the bride
And the
especially,
bride,
or
yeah.
wearing white. Wearing white's a big thing, right?
Well, not don't wear white because that's the
Hmm.
bride's job. And don't
Right.
wear well, I mean, one of the controversial things was can you wear red? Because red is like one of those attention grabbing colors and you don't want to detract from the bride.
Right. That was one that popped up as well. Getting too drunk was among the worst things you can do at a wedding, although 1 in 5 people thought that was okay.
Well,
Actually,
it's
they
free
said it was
alcohol.
fine. Yeah.
Oh,
Giving a speech without permission was considered rude. I didn't even think that this was a thing. How about proposing at someone else's wedding?
yeah.
Who would do that?
Yeah. Even if the bride and groom said, yeah, you know what, you can do that. I still think it's tacky. I think that it will not be looked upon well by the other guests.
Well, like you said, anything that you're doing to upstage the bride and groom, intentionally or not, is not a good thing. But it turns out that the worst thing you can do as far as wedding etiquette goes, the worst thing you can do is not RSVPing yes or no.
That's because
That
you
surprises
can't
me.
plan. Like as a planner,
Hmm.
that's annoying when you don't
Yes.
RSVP. And I actually was I was guilty of not RSVPing to a party
Hmm.
not too long ago, and the hostess had to send me a little reminder like, "Hey, are we going to see you at the party?" I'm like, "Oh my God, yes." I thought I had already RSVP'd because we had done a little exchange, but it wasn't like a definite yes, I guess. So, yeah, they just you can't plan food. I mean, Curt, you do sound
Hmm.
lighting and sometimes DJ weddings,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
so you know the importance of like all the things that people have to plan for, and the guest count, the head count is a big thing that people need to know.
You
And
know what?
bringing someone when you don't have permission to, like,
That was the one I was just going to say. The last event I did that was a wedding, and this is years ago. The bride came, and she's, oh, so and so brought such and such, and they weren't on the, she was really upset about it. And I said, that makes sense. Like you said, you can't, again, part of the planning is like, you can't just show up with a +1 and say, oh, by the way, here I am with so and so.
especially if it's like a formal dinner, like, and they've
Right,
seated everyone and everyone has their own, like, you don't necessarily plan for extra seats because the people that say they're coming are coming.
right,
Oh,
right.
yeah,
Oh, I
that's
did want to throw in one more thing because the questions were asked about the worst thing you can do at a wedding. They also had as far as wedding traditions go, wedding traditions, and so it's like, what is still popular, what is not. So they're talking about the throwing the garter and tossing the bouquet, whatever it is, that kind of stuff.
All
There
that's
was
still
a
fine, right? That's still fine.
Yeah, that was still fine. But the
Yeah.
one that came up that people said, no, that's not cool as far as wedding traditions go, is the bride vowing to obey her husband. Obey. And I agree.
You guys wish.
Shouldn't both people have to obey each other? Shouldn't that be for both the bride and the groom? Obey,
I
obey,
don't even
obey.
think obey is the right word to be using, the word choice. Like you're
Yeah.
choosing to do life together, not obey each other. Be
Maybe
loyal to each
cooperate.
other, yes.
Yes. There you go. I was actually happy to see that on there because obey, no. Especially if it's just for one person, not both, right?
I think that there's lots of questions that come up. I'm going back to the RSVPing is
Mm,
if who's invited, right? When you get your invitation to the wedding, who's invited? Like, oh, can I bring my kids? Can I bring my kids with me?
mm-mm.
Unless that inside envelope, like the inside, because there's usually two envelopes. The one you open and then you open another, then there's an envelope that pulls out with the actual stuff in it.
Right.
If that says like Mr. and Mrs. Cruz plus your dogs or plus kids,
That's
like
cool then.
write their names, that's who's invited. If it's
Otherwise,
just you don't get to bring a guest. If it's, Miss Jen Pirak and guest, great, I get to bring a guest.
awesome.
With the wedding season here, hopefully that helps clear it up because that's what we do here on the Curt and Jen show.
You know how, and we were talking about this not long ago. Um, is you're just going through your day, you see somebody say, "Hey, how you doing?" Or how's life? What's going on? When you see somebody, just as a greeting, especially,
Yeah.
how are you type of thing.
And people want
Um,
you to say good or fine, I think.
yeah, and I was joking, not half joking, about how I don't really want to know because if you're like, how you doing? Well, here's a whole list of bad things that are happening to me. You're like, great, why did I do that? You are kind of interested, especially if it's a friend, you want to know what's going on, but not
Yeah.
at that moment necessarily. So here we have good responses to a question like that, or just a greeting. How are you? The good response to that, if you're not actually doing well. How
Okay.
do you respond? So this is because typically, like you said, everything's fine. People would respond, I'm doing good. How are you? Well, if you're not doing well,
You can say,
here are
not
some
too bad.
responses.
Not too
Mhm,
bad. I'm not doing too bad. Or can't complain. One person says
mhm.
can't complain. No one listens.
That's a good joke too. But then now we're giving into some of the stuff that I'm like, it almost seems like if they say that, it's begging another question. Like if I said, here again, this list, we have a lot of lists today, by the way, on the show.
It's a listy show.
It's a listy show. If I say, how are you? And one of the things on here was, well, I'm getting by. It's like, okay, that's going to beg another question, isn't it? Or hanging in there.
Well, I get this from my girls all the time. I'm like, how are you guys doing? They're like, meh. Or Macy always says, in fact, Jackie's like, Macy needs to think of some synonyms for tired. Because I'm tired of hearing tired every time I ask her how she's doing. How you
She's
doing?
15. How can she be
Tired?
tired? She should have all the energy in the world.
I'm tired. How are
Okay.
you? Tired? Oh,
So the point with these are ways to answer if people, if you're not having a good day and people ask, how are you? But I would say that if somebody says, and this was actually one of the answers, they said, what's a good way to respond to how are you with if you're not that good? One person said, respond with, I've just been crying. It's like, what? That's gonna get that has to, you can't just go, oh, okay, cool, have a good one and move
you've just
on.
committed to
That's
more time in a conversation that you must have.
right, right. So even though, so I guess those first ones you said, a good response, not too bad or can't complain. Those are, one of them was living the dream.
I
They
was
all say
just
that.
gonna say that one
Yeah.
because I do say that sometimes. Like, how's it going? I'm like, yeah, living the dream.
Mhm. But I think a lot of these were counterproductive to, I think the idea was, to have a response that wasn't going to lead to, oh, well, what's wrong? What's going on? And most of these I would say do.
Yeah.
How about this one that just says the horror persists? How you doing? The horror persists.
Or awful. Why do you ask?
And I'd say I regret having asked. I'm sorry.
But here's the thing, if you really don't want to know how someone is, ask a different question.
You're right. It's just a habitual thing. Hey, how are you?
Yeah.
How you doing? Yeah.
Um, the unhealthiest snacks on the planet. Ready
You
for them?
zoned in on this one, by the way, this morning when we were like, this is great. Let's do this for sure. The unhealthiest snacks on the planet. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So
do we
the
want to start with the unhealthiest or go with a list of some of the other not healthies?
well, let's go to we'll do the top 10.
All right.
Starting at number 10 as the unhealthiest, working our way up to number 1.
And this is based on, I'm sorry, we just want to make sure that we know that this is based on, it just says everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
calories, grams of fat,
Okay. All right.
grams of carbs, versus how much protein's in them and sugar and all that. So
Top
number
10 unhealthiest snacks in the planet. Go.
10, okay, 10 is Chewy Dips chocolate chip granola bars.
That would be trickery to me because I'd look at that and say, oh, it's a granola bar. That's pretty healthy.
I know, but it's dipped in chocolate and they're chocolate chips. Twix candy bars, number 9.
How
Number
about yeah,
Hostess. Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you like those? The Hostess old fashioned donuts? They come like in an 8 in a pack, little tiny little sugared powdered donuts or whatever.
I do not.
Okay. No good.
Max salt and vinegar pork skins. I love me a pork rind,
I
but
know
not
you
if it's
do.
got salt and vinegar.
Horrible. Number 6 was Doritos nacho cheese. Number
Nacho
5,
cheese,
little,
my cheese.
say it
Well,
again.
well, you said
Nacho cheese?
nacho cheese. I said nacho
Oh,
cheese, my cheese.
my cheese. Little Debbie Swiss rolls.
Those are like
Isn't,
ho-hos.
I was going to say, isn't that like their version of ho-hos?
Yes.
That's number 5. Hmm.
Forest Turtle Chex Mix, which I've never even heard of.
I think that's Chex Mix with the Chex stuff, but also it's got to have some caramel
Caramel.
and chocolate in it or something like that.
Okay, I could get on board with that.
Uh,
Number 3 is this is surprising to me. Number 3 is Ritz Bits cheese cracker sandwiches.
as the unhealthiest snacks in the planet go, that's
Number
number
two,
3.
number 2 is Smucker's Goober Grape. Are those is Smucker's Goober Grape? Are those sandwiches?
It must be because I thought I thought that they had, I thought the Smuckers, the goober stuff was when they had the peanut butter and the jelly in one jar. Remember that? It looked all striped on the side and
Oh
everything.
yeah. Hold on.
I
I'm
thought that
looking.
was the goober. Smoke, but I think you're right. Now it's an actual snack. It's a pre-prepared snack with the bread and everything.
Is it the grape? Oh no. Curt, you're right. It is. It's the peanut butter. This is terrible.
Mixed
I
in
can't.
peanut butter and goober grape, Smucker's grape jelly all together.
In the jar. Yeah.
God, I could eat that with the spoon, I swear.
Gross. Number 1, go. You tell us.
The unhealthiest snack on the planet. I've never had this. Little Debbie zebra cakes, which maybe that's got to be their version of another Hostess thing, like a Suzy Q or something like
No,
that.
it's not. I think it's their it's tiger tails.
Oh, well, Little Debbie zebra cakes, in case you're interested, 320 calories, 14 grams of fat, 8 grams of saturated fat, 150 milligrams of sodium, and 47 grams of carbs, along with, on the healthy side, 2 grams of protein.
You know what? I was wrong. It's not like tiger tails. It is like these 2 pieces of cake with filling in it, covered with what looks like white chocolate with drizzled with chocolate, regular
Uh,
chocolate. So it kind of
that
looks
sounds
like
perfect. Everything about that sounds perfect.
I don't know. Can you see that at all?
Not really,
Okay. Well, that was
but your nails look good.
they look terrible. They're
There
not
you go.
manicured.
Don't even.
They're not manicured.
Don't even.
Okay.
I don't know if that's going to be a consideration next time you're buying snacks, but if you're looking to go with not the least healthy ever, go with one of the other ones we mentioned ahead of Little Debbie zebra cakes, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah,
Curt, next week is 4th of July week.
that's correct.
Like this, we go through this week, and then what is it? Saturday? What is it? Or Monday? Next Monday, a week from today is July 1st. So
Hmm.
people are already talking about their 4th of July travel plans.
Right.
And
And
get this,
the fourth is on Thursday. It's the next Thursday is the
yes,
fourth.
9 in 10 people are going to be traveling. Actually, that's not true. Let me back up.
Not,
71 million Americans are going to be traveling on the 4th of July week.
right. And the 9
Nine
and
and
10 part,
10 of them are driving.
right. We're going to be on the road.
That's
And,
mega.
and, and you're for sure one of them.
I'm in that category because I'm gonna work. Pat and I are heading over to Manson.
That's Chelan, right?
Like Chelan area. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you and Dana going anywhere?
I haven't decided yet. We're not flying anywhere. No, we're gonna stick around here for sure. But there was a little note on here that said there's supposed to be some relief coming at the gas pump. Gas prices lower than last year when the national average was $3.53, which, by the way, I've not seen around here in a while.
That's not here.
Uh,
Like they're saying the current national average is $3.44. I'm like, where?
mhm.
Where in
Right.
Washington is that happening?
Filled up at Costco a couple of days ago, and it was 4.15. Does that sound right?
Well, I was going to say the same thing. Mine was 409 at
Yeah.
Costco. So maybe that's a
So,
price drop. Maybe you got yours on Friday night and I got mine on Saturday.
well, maybe it'll go down to 3.44 between now and Thursday. Doubtful. Very doubtful. But
Some of the other things just to be aware of, the worst times to be on the roads is when everyone wants to be, right? It's between
mhm,
2 and 7 p.m. What that would be on the night before
Wednesday,
Wednesday, the day
yeah.
before Fourth
And
of
the
July.
return day, of course, is Sunday. So Sunday, July 7th is going to be a crazy day on the roads as well.
I guess it's between 2 and 7 on both those days, right? Because people are
Right.
getting off work and maybe getting off work a tiny bit early and heading out. And then
Well,
coming home, you're maximizing your Sunday wherever you are
sure.
and heading out
Triple
again.
A, Triple A says the best time to drive is get up and drive in the morning. However, I think their definition of morning is probably different than a lot of people's because last time we tried to beat the rush, I don't think it was 4th of July. It was another, maybe it was Thanksgiving weekend. Like, okay, we'll get up and leave in the morning. So
What
it was
time?
what's that?
What time is your morning that you got on the road? Because if it's
I,
10,
I I think no, I think we got on the road at like 7 and it was already packed because people are, trying to leave in the early morning. So maybe when it says AAA suggests driving in the morning, that means you got to leave at 4 a.m.
well, here's the thing though. If you're leaving in the yes, agreed. I think it is
Hmm.
very early because here's the thing. If you're leaving early and it's the day before the actual holiday, people are still working. So it's commute time. And
Hmm.
you're getting stuck in regular commute, plus those people deciding to leave for vacation early. You got like double whammy going.
Right. And we haven't really talked much about the flying, but the little note down here about flying is if you're flying, remember airports are slammed around the holidays. So do yourself a favor and aim to be there 2 hours early. It's always 2 hours early.
Well,
You
unless
think
it's an international flight, then it's 3 hours.
that is true. My point is that it's no matter what the thing is, even if it's a regular weekend, they're like try to be there 2 hours early. So maybe a little bit more than that. I don't know, but it's going to be a crazy. Again, this is next weekend or next week. No, I'm losing my place here.
It's a
Yeah,
week
next week.
from Thursday, next
Right.
week.
Okay, got it.
A week from
Lots of people on
Thursday,
the road,
4th of July.
but it is one of Jen's favorite holidays of the year. So,
I
and if I may just drop this in here, I'm going to be a total downer. If you don't absolutely have to set off the big booming fireworks,
I knew it.
particularly,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like we can't get away from it, and the dogs freak out, and
That
the animals freak out
yeah,
there.
I was gonna say that we're gonna mention it now about the dogs and the fireworks and animals in general, but we're gonna mention
Mhm.
it again next week. Just be
Absolutely,
mindful of that. But I like the sparklers, those neon sparklers, the really long neon sparklers. Those
yeah,
ones are
and those
fun.
do no harm. I'm mostly talking about the mortars. All they do is go whoop, and then boom, and the glass shakes in the house, and all the dogs freak out, and so I mean, and we're right. I mean, I don't know if people know, but you and Bothell and me in Mill Creek, we're both. I'm in unincorporated Snohomish County, technically. So they just
You
changed the
can.
rules recently.
Can you? Can you still do that or not?
I don't
Might
even
have
know.
changed it. They might have said no
Yeah,
more.
yeah. There was something new that went on the books this year. And I'm not trying to ruin everybody's fun, but like you said, there are plenty of things you can the sparklers. There are even fireworks that go up in the air.
Regardless,
And
you're literally
poof.
setting your money on fire.
Yes. Aha, but I'm ping. And your boyfriend is a firefighter, so I'm sure he's like, you know what? I wish that nobody would set off fireworks on the
Well,
4th of July.
he does wish that, and he takes the 4th of July off because he's just like, it's ridiculous. I don't, it's the worst day to work.
Is it because there's so many injuries, or is it like houses
Injuries and
burning down?
fires, both.
Okay.
Like the crazy injuries of people blowing their hands off and fingers off and all the things.
That's got to be difficult for because he's also a EMT, right?
Well, all firefighters
Okay.
are
It's not
EMTs
EMT.
and
Is it
medics.
EMT still?
There's
Okay.
medics,
Medics,
there's
right.
firefighters and medics, but medics have to know how to firefight too. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes.
I would have such a hard time just as a human going and watching somebody that blew their finger off saying, told you. You knew that was going to happen.
Oh my
We
God.
told you not to do it. And here you are fingerless. Nice job.
All right.
You can't do that, I guess.
I'm excited to talk about this tomorrow.
What's that?
Best dipping food combos. I will make sure that I post this. I apologize. I am bad at this. Like remembering to post because our goal is to get the show up and posted so that you can enjoy it. And then I forget later in the day to post what we're going to talk about tomorrow because we want people's input, but I will. Best dipping food combos like fries and ranch dressing.
Fries and ranch dressing?
Yes.
That's a good one. You ever have French fries and mayonnaise?
No.
Okay. Well, I've seen people do that. I'm just saying.
But I shouldn't do that. I can't yuck a yum. I can't yuck a yum. And I got it.
You
Yeah.
can't yuck a yum.
If it's
Nice.
someone's yum, you can't yuck it.
So feel free to respond either just to this video, or if you're listening, whatever platform you're listening on, we want to know what you think are the best dipping food combos. I'm going to throw one out there too. Maybe this
Hey,
doesn't count
tell me.
because my wife was like, "Really? That's what you do?" Does anybody is it odd to have ketchup on pork chops?
I mean, I can see it. It's not, I don't think
That
I would like it because I'm not even a pork chop fan to start with. So
Well, and maybe it was just in our family because you grow up knowing what you know, and if
yeah,
maybe that was something that the family because I'm like, oh yeah, you got to have him. She makes these great chops. Like, where's the ketchup? She's like, what are you talking about?
you're gonna
It's
ruin
like,
it.
that's the only way I've ever eaten pork chops in my life was with ketchup.
That is interesting. Okay, so I want to
Yeah.
know I'll go with best or most interesting, but you've got to, stand behind it. Like you consume it and say, this is delicious.
So are you saying you got to
Don't knock
bring
it
it?
until you try it. What?
Yeah, you got to bring it.
Yeah, bring it. All right. So comment on that, please. We want to hear from you. In the meantime, have an awesome, awesome Monday. Thank you so much for listening and be sure to make good choices, find joy, and spread kindness.